It's me, MLB. Here is chapter 83 of Shattered Image, and this one is titled Spicy Yin. Sero was always watching you. You knew this fact, but you also knew that you had the jump on him this time because he had never attended any of your training sessions with Aizawa, so he had no idea that you A, had a scarf from him, and B, knew how to use it. So with that hyped up, crazy grin on your face, you locked onto the guy on the far end, the taller one, who appeared to have the same look in his eye as you, and made a beeline for him. All of your instinct was telling you to run him down first, so you charged him head on. Meanwhile, in these split seconds before impact, Sero's brain was going into overdrive. His attention had been initially drawn to your right hand as you reached for your pocket and had pulled this flat, white-looking fabric from it, and had then started to rack his brain trying to work out what it was. He had called out to ask you what it was, but when you hadn't responded, he then decided to do some deductive reasoning, but was chalking up a big, fat 0. Is that a band? A net? A covering to hide something else? He wondered, watching you expertly flick it around to get it into position. Suddenly the guy that you were aiming for froze for a second, and then you immediately flicked the scarf out at him as you ran and wrapped it around the guy's neck and right arm, and then the guy suddenly came back to again, but he'd already been caught and you had jumped by now and pulled on the scarf ends and yanked him off kilter as you jumped, using his shoulder as a stepping stone to get higher. Then you looked at the guy next to him as he raised his arm to supposedly detonate his quirk, but he too froze for a second before you kicked him and used the long part of one end of your scarf to wrap it around him and restrain him as you then jumped off the middle guy and landed on the third, pulling all the guys into one and causing mass chaos. Sero saw everything that had happened, but was having a hard time processing what he had witnessed, because it's not how he was used to seeing you fight. But then his mind did a quick comparison in how you moved to how he had seen Aizawa move, and that, coupled with the sudden introduction of the scarf, and his mind's eye did an instant match. Wait, her training? He suddenly gasped, as he lent you some support by shooting out some tape to lock down the 3 guys that you had taken down. You moved so confidently that he was shocked at how quickly you had seemingly mastered the use of the scarf, and he grinned as he watched you land on the other side of the 3rd guy and talk into your earpiece to get some assistance from the CIA. Heads up, if you see 3 guys wrapped in tape at the entrance to the alleyway beside the ramen shop, that was all me, you said proudly. Not sure how many other slimies there are out there, but if you could get your asses down here pronto, that'd be great. You looked at Sero. Oh, okay, so Sero taped them, but I took them all down, 3v me, you said with another grin, while still looking at him. And that was amazing, Sero said in awe. Did you learn those moves from Aizawa? You're a total natural. I guess I should say thank you, Hobi then mumbled while looking away, and it was only because he spoke that you remembered that he was still there with you and Sero. I mean, whatever. I'm not here for thanks, he said with a shrug. I'm here to kick ass and be a hero. Sero swelled with pride at your words. It suits you, he said, giving you a soft look. You looked back at him bashfully, but then the sound of Mr. Miyagi in your earpiece drew your attention. Good job. I've got 2 men coming around the corner. Soon they'll take care of the men. Get Hobi out of there and back to the hotel, he instructed. You just nodded but didn't speak, glancing at Hobi as you did so. You then jerked your head towards him and nodded back down the other way of the alleyway. Let's go, you said, leading the way away from the men taped down on the ground at the entrance of the alleyway. As you walked, you looked back at the 2 boys and then jerked your head to Sero and then pointed to your ear and then pretended to take out your earpiece, and Sero just seemed to have understood. As soon as he took out his earpiece, you stopped and did the same with yours and then quickly closed it in your hand so as to cover it well enough so the person on the other end couldn't hear. Okay, we need to talk fast while they don't have ears or eyes on us. They can't see this far down the alleyway and there's no other cameras nearby. Earpieces are out, you added, looking at Hobi. Talk fast, what's going on, and do you need help? Hobi looked at you and then blinked rapidly. Speak, damn it, we don't have all day, you snapped. You're pissed because we have freedom, right? What's your deal? You carry info for them and then what? They let you go? You asked. Are you a captive? Suddenly Hobi's face contorted and he jumped and clutched at his ankle and then let out a hiss of pain. Ugh. If I step out of line, I get punished. I don't have a normal life. I don't know what's going to happen to me after this mission. Death is the only way out of this life, he hissed in pain. They have electrical monitors on me, so they've probably noticed that we're all offline, so they're tasing me to keep me from running. Crap, you grunted. Okay, earpieces in, you said to Sero, as you quickly unwrapped your hand from around the small earpiece and then pushed it back into your ear. What the hell is going on? Mr. Me and I shouted into the earpiece. Bro, I needed to scratch my ear and the earpiece was coming loose after that damn fight. Keep your pants on, puppy, you grumped back at him. And I assume that you're going to tell me your boyfriend needed to do the same thing, Mr. Me and I seethed, definitely smelling a rat. I guess so, what's the big deal, you lied, looking at Hobi, who is now rubbing his sore ankle hidden under his jeans, and then trying to walk on it but limping heavily. Is there any reason Hobi's now in pain? You shot back at the CIA boss, wanting to see what he had to say for himself. None of your business. He snapped back at you. Any pain that he is in is because of you. Incorrect, you said back sharply. And you won't be using that against me, asshole. Okay, Sero said, jumping in before things got too involved. I'm sorry, sir. We both needed to adjust our earpieces. I'm sorry it was at the same time. You looked at Sero and did a thumbs up. He wasn't usually the type to lie, but if it came to protecting you, you knew that he would do it. I own you at the moment, Yin. Don't you forget that I can make or break your case, Mr. Me and I said darkly, and your blood boiled, but Sero quickly reached out and grabbed onto your arm and shook his head violently, begging you to disengage. You glared at him and then shook his hand off your arm, but you didn't say anything back to Mr. Me and I. You knew Sero was trying to help, and you also knew that Mr. Me and I was unfortunately correct. I wonder if this is the world Hobi lives in, you thought, as you shut your mouth and then headed out of the far end of the alleyway and headed back down towards the hotel, always keeping an eye out as you went. It seemed like there were indeed people out and about waiting for their chance to take down the CIA intelligence mule. You kind of felt bad when you dropped Hobi back off at the hotel and had a glare off with Mr. Me and I before handing your equipment back over to him and his men, and then you were let go for the night and ordered to return at 6 a.m. the next morning for more work. Hey, Sero said, as you were heading down to the elevator together. What? You snapped. He reached out and wrapped his strong arms around you and pulled you into him for an all-encompassing hug. Oh no, he said softly. It sucks. It does, you mumbled angrily into his chest. I'm so pissed at him, I just need to let off some steam. You're not wanting to go hunting, are you? Sero asked cautiously. Is she gonna snap? We'll find out in the next chapter, chapter 84, coming tomorrow. See you then.